Do you believe that transgender Americans should have access to gender-affirming care in this country?
I believe we should follow the law. I mean, I think you're probably pointing to the fact that Donald Trump's campaign has spent tens of millions of dollars.
They're trying to define you on this.
Yes,
I'm asking you to define yourself, though. Just broadly speaking, what is your value? Do you believe they should have that access?
I believe that people, as the law states, even on this issue about federal law, that is a decision that doctors will make in terms of what is medically necessary. I'm not going to put myself in the position of a doctor.
I will move on, but I don't know that I heard a clear answer from you on the issue of gender-affirming care. It sounds like what you're saying is there should be something between trans Americans and their doctors. It feels like that's a long way from "we see you and we love you," which was your message to trans Americans in May. What do you want the LGBTQ plus community to know as they're looking for a full-throated backing from you for trans Americans?
I believe that all people should be treated with dignity and respect. Period.
Man, times have really changed. You can't even get a full-throated backing for Kamala anymore. Joining me now, my friends Terry Schilling, president of the American Principles Project, and Amber Duke, of course, wonderful Washington editor for The Spectator. Terry, I have long ago said that I believe the tranny thing was a mistake for the communists, just because it's so gross and it grosses people out, even non-political people, that it's a political loser in the end. Am I right? Are we finally winning on this because of these freaks?
Well, listen, Jesse, this is the moment we've all been working for, right? You and I have known about this weakness from the Democratic Party for quite some time. And of course, it had to be Donald Trump that was the first one to actually recognize this and put real money behind it. Kamala said a lot of crazy stuff in her life, but the craziest things that she's ever said is that men can have babies and that men can become women and women can become men. It's all preposterous. But notice how she's squirming in that interview. She doesn't want to give a direct answer. She was fine during the primary in 2019 and 2020, but now she's got to deal with swing voters. So we got to make her we got to force her to choose between her base voters and the swing voters, and Donald Trump did that. It's absolutely beautiful. This is absolutely a loser for her and really the whole country if it goes through.
Amber, why the tipping point? Is it an electoral thing? Is it the dudes in women's sports thing? I mean, it's not that anyone cares about women's sports, but we don't want dudes beating up on women. Maybe that's the central part of it. What is it?
I think it's just that more people got exposed to this and realized that this was something that could legitimately pose a threat to their own children through the women's sports and the locker rooms and the bathrooms. And in fact, the United Nations of all organizations came out with a report today indicating that nearly 200 women across the world have lost out on some kind of championship because of a male competing in their sports. So this is not something that is relegated to just a handful of schools around the country. It has unfortunately become very prolific. And if you want even greater evidence that the left is running away from this issue, the New York Times published a report today indicating that a researcher who was doing what was supposed to be the seminal study in the United States, propping up puberty blockers as an appropriate treatment for children with gender dysphoria, hid the research, the results, for years because, surprise, surprise, they didn't show any mental health improvement for those children. And she was worried that the political right was going to weaponize the results.
Oh, yes, of course. So, Terry, I have long said, everyone gets mad when I say it, but you know how much I care about that the most evil creature on the planet of any species is the liberal white woman. No other creature would groom its children for sacrifice later on. Even though a great white shark may eat its young, it won't groom it specifically so it can eat it later. But the liberal white woman will. And people think I'm crazy when I say that. I want to just point everybody to this Ring doorbell camera of the liberal white woman.
Hi. I want to know how you can vote.
We can't answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
Shameful.
Are you the one that walks by here and always screaming at people?
No, I haven't walked by recently.
Okay, because a lot of people walk by and scream.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that?
No.
Why are you voting for him?
Because I believe he is the moral candidate.
Oh, my God. you for that one.
That's exactly
Moral?
right. That's how your side acts.
Oh my God.
That's
He's
how
the
you
most
guys,
immoral person around.
in your opinion, that's
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
everybody's supposed to.
God bless you.
Oh, gosh. Terry, the level of mental illness we have in this country, yes, it's hilarious, but man, live, brother, we have some seriously deranged people we share a country with.
No, that's right. And I think we should investigate any collusion between the mainstream media and big pharma and also the therapy industry for working together, right? I mean, the media has really done a number on normal everyday people who, in the 90s were probably pretty decent people to be around, but they have really instilled a lot of mental illness into these people. It's absolutely amazing to watch.
Amber, is that why they lean so far into the Hitler thing that makes us all roll our eyes? The Atlantic, of course, run by a liberal white woman, runs some crazy piece about Trump as Hitler, and then Dome gives some press conference today about Trump being Hitler. We all roll our eyes, but it works on these nutballs, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I mean, we know that women are more susceptible to emotional arguments. This is not some misogynistic comment. This is basic biology. Intrinsically, we are more likely to respond to the ideas of empathy and compassion, and the left weaponizes that consistently to earn the votes of women. And we have seen it done perfectly by the Kamala campaign with their calling card issue of abortion. They have been falsely claiming for months now that women are dying as a result of Trump's abortion ban, insisting that a woman who died from complications from taking an abortion pill is somehow the victim of a pro-life law, just consistently manipulating, emotionally blackmailing women who, have legitimate concerns about women's health. Certainly they hear that word and don't think that it means, murdering your baby in the womb. And they think that a pro-life law is going to stop somebody from being able to have a miscarriage. It's truly deranged.
Terry, where are we at on that front? Obviously, it's the pro-life thing is something the national GOP has very much set aside. They don't want to touch the issue, and that's fine. Clearly, we have a cultural issue here that it's going to take a long time to win, because it took a long time to turn America's women into baby-murdering savages. Are we gaining ground on that issue?
Look, I think that abortion, with the overturn of Dobbs, I think we are now able to actually fight this horrific evil that has plagued our country. I think it's temporarily gone for this election, but I think that within 4 years, you could have a J.D. Vance-like candidate come up and start talking about a late-term abortion ban nationally, with exceptions, right? This isn't dead. We have to still keep fighting because they tricked us, right? They won all these ballot initiatives in the states and off-year elections, and it scared these politicians. But once we start really winning on the Democrats' extremism on this and taking advantage of this, like Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are already doing right now in the campaign, I think you'll start to see more politicians running on at least late-term abortion bans nationally.
Terry, Amber, appreciate you both. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jesse.
you.
Right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.